ああ、とても困っている。君の助けが必要だ。
Artem's home theater. The heavy curtain slowly opens and the dust swirls and dances in the air, accompanied by the film's ending song. What just ended was an acclaimed romance film. It describes the relationship between a man and a woman from falling in love to marriage and finally separation. In the final scene, the two protagonists stand at the entrance of the apartment they once shared, saying goodbye to each other and walking away in opposite directions. The last thing the female lead said to the male lead was, even those in the most intimate of relationships can become strangers. Even those in the most intimate relationships can become strangers. You mull over what the female lead said, thinking about your and Autumn's recent identity shift from dating to being engaged. I know it won't happen to us, but sensing your discomfort, Autumn claps your hand gently.
映画の結末に落ち込んでいるのか？
Yeah, it's a shame. It feels like they still love each other, but refuse to communicate. Especially toward the end, they were more heartless toward each other than they would be toward strangers. And the fact that the film encapsulates their 10-year journey from their meeting and falling in love to their separation enhanced that effect.
それで、私たちもいつか彼らと同じ結末を迎えるのではと不安になったのか？
I don't think we'll end up like them, but seeing you hesitate to speak, Artem lets out a sigh and finishes the sentence for you.
ただ、それでも不安になるか？
Yeah.
映画の主人公たちが最終的に別れてしまったのは、二人の関係に問題が生じたとき、それから逃げることを選んだからだ。だが、もし私たちの間で意見の食い違いがあったとしても、それがさらなる問題につながる前に、私が必ず解決する。だから、心配する必要はない。
Artem does like to solve problems head on, but the literary film is more of an abstract expression of emotions and feelings. The female lead in the film also tried to smooth things over, but every time she tried, it ended up in an argument. But I don't think it's that simple between them.
どうしてそう思う？
Concrete problems can be solved by confronting them, but feelings are abstract, so they require a different approach. In an intimate relationship, there are many emotions that cannot be expressed in words.
言葉では伝えきれない。うん。確かにそういうこともあるだろう。君は、
Suddenly, a vibrating sound interrupts your conversation, and Artem looks at his phone.
財産だ。
Go ahead. Artem nods, accepting the call, and you hear Celestine's voice.
左京くん、私よ、財前。
どうかしたのか？
ちょっと左京くんとあの子に相談したいことがあって。今って二人で一緒にいる？
Yeah, I'm here.
よかった。二人も知ってると思うけど、いつきと私、来週新婚旅行に行くでしょ？でもその間、ココの面倒を見てくれる人が見つからなくて。
Ollie is Celestine's Pomeranian. Before, when Celestine was renovating her house, you and Artem took care of Ollie for some time.
つまり、ココを預かってほしいということか？
ええ、ペットホテルも考えたんだけど、あの子ケージに閉じ込められるのを嫌がるから、 また二人にお願いできたらと思って。
Ollie is cute and affectionate. Despite not having spent much time together, you and Artem like how adorable she looks. You and Artem smile, reaching a consensus by just exchanging kisses.
わかった。いつ迎えに行けばいい？
ありがとう。それじゃあ来週の土曜日の午前中はどうかしら。それまではもう少しココと一緒にいさせて。
ああ、わかった。
これで決まりね。私は今から荷造りをしないといけないからもう切るわ。
After hanging up, your heart is filled with the excitement of seeing Ollie that you completely forget about the film. Yay, we get to live with Ollie again.
そうだな。
Last time, just when I was getting to know Ollie better, Celestine came to pick her up. This time, I want to bond more with Ollie. By the way, do we still have the toys for Ollie? We should stock up on the snacks. Ollie loves to eat beef jerky. And the season is different now, so we have to get some new clothes for Ollie.
君は
What is it? Artem doesn't say anything and looks at you, then shakes his head with a smile.
いや、なんでもない。おもちゃならまだあるが、おやつは全部財前に渡してしまったから、また買い直す必要があるな。今すぐ注文すれば、ココが来る前に届くだろう。服については、ココが来てからサイズを見て買おうか。
Yeah, that works. I'll go pick out the snacks. Celestine Taylor's residence. The following Saturday comes sooner than expected as you and Artem drive over to Celestine's home. However, there is no movement inside the house. Where is Ollie? Before, when you and Artem were taking care of Ollie, she reacted immediately to any movement. Artem frowned slightly, not expecting this situation.
どこかで寝ているのかもしれない。家の中を探してみよ
う。Yeah, I'll check out the kitchen first. However, just as you're about to head into the kitchen, Artem grabs your wrist. What is it?
静かに。ほら、ソファーの方を見て。
You follow Artem's gaze and see Ollie wagging her tail. Why is she by the sofa?
それはわからないが、もう少し観察してみようか。
You and Artem approach the sofa carefully and meet Ollie's watchful eyes. Realizing this, Ollie hastily hides under the sofa. Why does it feel like Ollie is scared of us? Did she forget us? Hearing your question, Artem shakes his head with a smile.
いや、覚えてはいるだろう。そうでなければ、私たちが家に入った時点で吠えていたはずだ。ただ、私たちを避けているのは間違いない。私たちが自分を探していると知りながら、ああして隠れているのだから。
Why does it sound like Ollie is mad at us?
怒っている？そうだな。その可能性もゼロではないと思うが。
But I don't think we did anything to make her angry. You try to recall every little thing that happened with Ollie, but only the trivial things came to mind. For example, worrying about her getting wet on a rainy day and not letting her go out even though she was whining. Also, after sending Ollie home previously, you did buy her gifts but didn't have the time to visit her. Ollie wouldn't get angry at us for something so trivial, right?
親しい関係であればあるほど、日常の些細なことで相手への不満が生まれやすい。
If Ollie could talk, she could tell us what's going on. Artem is visibly surprised, probably by your words. What is it? Did I say something wrong?
いや、少し別のことを思い出しただけだ。個々のことならあまり心配する必要はないだろう。これから数日間、ココと一緒に暮らしながら仲直りする方法を考えれば、きっとまた打ち解けられる。
I hope so. But Ollie keeps avoiding us. How can we bring her back with us? The white elephant is in the room, and the frustration you had chosen to ignore resurfaces.
方法ならある。ココが好きなおやつを覚えているか？
Beef jerky? Are you gonna tempt her with a snake?
そうだ。ケージの中にジャーキーを置いて、ココが入ったら扉を閉めればいい。
That works. We had planned to transport Ollie in the pet carrier anyway. So you and Artem set up a trap to lure Ollie out in the open. After using beef jerky as bait, you and Artem hide, observing Ollie from an obscure corner. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes pass by and Ollie remains hidden under the sofa. Ollie won't fall for it.
焦ることはない。もう少し待ってみよう。
The moment Artem sits down, Ollie pokes her nose out from under the sofa, followed by a cute head. Ollie lifts her head and sniffs in the air, trying to confirm the location of the beef jerky. With her target locked, Ollie happily runs to the source of the scent, the pet carrier. Ollie ultimately can't resist the temptation. Since the pet carrier originally belonged to Ollie, she calmly remains inside it and enjoys the beef jerky. Artem quietly approaches the pet carrier from behind to lock it and gently pick it up. You expected Ollie to resist, but she only looks up at you before turning to it. Why doesn't Ollie look anxious?
私たちが自分を傷つけることはないと分かっているのだろう。過去に預けられた経験から状況を理解しているんだ。
Maybe that means Ollie has feelings for us deep down, which is why she is angry at us. Ollie is acting like a child.
確かに、ペットは子供に少し似ているかもしれないな。もういい時間だ。そろそろ帰ろう。
You nod and greet Ollie, who is still busy eating the beef jerky. Ollie, let's go. Artem's residence. Back at home, Ollie regains her freedom and crawls under the sofa, proudly showing you her back. Ollie seems much angrier than back at Celestine's home. It seems like Ollie is upset that we tricked her into coming here. She's not going to avoid us the whole time, right?
いや、その心配はないだろう。ポメラニアンは元来人懐っこい犬種だから、機嫌が治れば許してくれるはずだ。
While saying this, Artem crouches down to provide water and dog food in the double-packed bowls for Ollie.
まずは新しい環境に慣れてもらうために、個々の寝床を用意しよう。
Didn't we already agree on where Ollie will sleep?
確かに、最初はリビングにするつもりだったんだが、今の状況を考えると、他の場所にするべきだと思ってな。
Do you mean to the bedroom?
ああ。私たちの間にあるわだかまりを解くには、なるべく近くにいた方がいい。
You seem to be proactive in improving your relationship with Ollie this time.
ここはまだ私たちを十分に信頼していない。この問題を解決しない限り、状況は悪化する一方だ。
I want to do something as well. I heard that feeding will strengthen the bond with pets. Let's cook some beef for lunch and feed Ollie.
わかった。 材料は家にあるから、人参と卵の黄身も加えて、栄養のバランスを整えてみよ
Then we'll make it together after preparing a place for Ollie to sleep.
う。あ、
Artem's kitchen. At noon, the sun shines brightly through the window near the counter. You and Artem stand side by side, busy cooking. Since Ollie can't eat food with seasoning, it is easy to prepare her food. Soon, the beef, carrots, and egg yolk salad is done. I'm done. Are we going to feed Ollie now? Holding the plate, you watch as Artem cuts vegetable.
少し待ちなさい。
What is it? Hearing your question, Artem signals behind you with his eyes.
ココのお出ましだ。
Huh? Looking back, you see Ollie staring at the two of you with her head tilted to one side. Her eyes drift toward the plate in your hands. Under Ollie's watchful gaze, you slowly crouch down to meet her at eye level. Ollie, beef is your favorite, right? Want to try it? Ollie's eyes dart between you and the beef several times. Ollie cautiously walks forward, but she suddenly stops as if she senses something. Time gradually passes, and you and Ollie are locked in a stalemate. Just when you feel your arm giving away, Artem approaches, his warm, dry palm grasping your wrist gently. Why are you squatting as well?
私が立っているせいで、圧迫感を与えているのかもしれないと思ってな。これで警戒を解いてくれるかもしれない。
Just as Artem said, it isn't long before Ollie hesitantly inches forward, step by step. You hold your breath, watching Ollie sniff the beef on the plate. She licks the beef tentatively, then digs in. In the blink of an eye, Ollie has devoured everything on the plate except for the carrots. Ollie, don't be picky. You pretend to warn Ollie angrily. She takes one quick look at you and elegantly turns to leave. I can't believe it.
焦らなくていい。私たちを避けなくなったのは大きな進歩だ。
Artem's word reminds you. After lunch, Ollie lays down not far away, observing you and Artem from time to time. It seems like feeding Ollie personally got us closer.
ああ。だがココは人参が苦手なようだから、次はアスパラガスにしてみよう。
Asparagus. I think we're all out. I'll have to go buy some later.
私も一緒に行こう。
No, Ollie can't stay home by herself, and the supermarket doesn't allow pets. I also have something else to buy, so I'll go by myself. Upon seeing your insistence, Artem can only agree.
わかった。気をつけて行ってきなさい。
Okay. Artem's residence. At the supermarket, you keep thinking of Artem and Ollie, so you hurry home after buying everything. However, when you reach home, the house is empty and the atmosphere feels eerily silent. Artem, Ollie. You try calling their names, no response. Where did they go? Taking out your phone, you're about to call Artem when you hear a thud. Artem! Ollie! The sound seems to have come from the top floor. You sprint upstairs before you can think, praying silently that nothing happened. Penthouse pool. Gasping for breath, you finally reach the top floor. The pool shimmers in the sunlight, yet you still can't find them. You look around anxiously. Suddenly, you hear Artem's helpless voice nearby.
ここ、降りなさい。 今遊んでやる時間が。待て、ここ。キーボードを踏むんじゃない。
Ollie steps on something and the computer produces a familiar melody. Upon hearing this, the fear of not knowing their whereabouts dissipates. You follow the voice and finally see them. The warm afternoon sunlight streams through the foliage and lands on Artem and Ollie. The golden light dance along with their movements as Ollie lies on Artem, licking his face with her tongue. The laptop wobbles on Artem's lap as he tries to fend off Ollie with one hand and hold onto his laptop with the other. Mr. Wing, who is usually calm and collected, is finding it difficult to deal with Ollie's enthusiasm.
わかったから、もうやめなさい。ここ、早く降りるんだ。
However, no matter what Artem says, Ollie continues her relentless attack. You can't help but burst into laughter. Artem looks up at you. His eyes are filled with helplessness, which soon transform into a cry for help. You've never seen such a weak side of Artem, making you want to tease him. Mr. Wing, do you need my help? Not expecting you to say that, a hint of surprise flickers in Artem's eyes, but he soon understands it. The soft light captures the curve of his lips, which gradually turn upward. It makes you feel that you have the upper hand.
ああ、とても困っている。君の助けが必要だ。
It's the first time you've seen Artem looking so defenseless. This rare hidden side of him catches you off guard. You are surprised by his reply, drawing you to see the answer he wants. Sure. Pool rest area. You pick up Ollie, her short legs dangling in the air as she growls in protest. Ollie, let's leave Artem alone when he works, alright? Ollie looks down as if she was at fault and barks listlessly. As Artem packs his things, he notices Ollie is upset and offers her some consoling words.
仕事が終わったら一緒に遊ぼう。
Hearing Artem's promise, Ollie's enthusiasm returns as she licks the palm of Artem's hand. Artem subconsciously wants to pull his hand away, but in the end, he puts up with it. It seems like Artem can't handle it when Ollie is acting cute. Your gaze drifts to the laptop beside Artem. Were you busy just now? Hearing your question, Artem pauses for a moment, then shakes his head peculiarly.
ああ、もともと別の作業をしていたんだが、急にクライアントからビデオ会議をしたいと連絡があってな。以前財前が担当していた案件で少しトラブルが起きたようで、フォローに入っているんだ。だが、会議が始まった途端にココが割って入ってきて、おそらく私がジャーキーを持っているとでも思ったんだろう。
Looks like Ollie didn't eat enough for lunch.
相変わらず食いしん坊だな。
Well, Ollie and I will get out of your hair.
ああ、ありがとう。
Artem nods. He quickly gets to work, opens his laptop and starts a call.
すみません。少しトラブルがありまして。先ほどの話の続きですが。
Artem returns to his usual calm and composed self in an instant. Somehow, you are missing how helpless Artem was with Ollie and had to ask for your help. I wonder when I'll see that side of him again. Park. You thought Artem had promised to play with Ollie at home, however, it turns out to be outdoors. He even found a part where dogs are allowed and set up a picnic mat in a spacious area. You and Artem are about to sit down on the picnic mat when Ollie grabs the leash with her mouth, signaling for Artem to play. Ollie seems to like it here.
犬は基本的に外にいるのが好きな生き物だから、一緒に外で遊べば、より早く互いの距離が縮まるはずだ。もちろん、適度な運動は個々の健康にもプラスになる。
As you and Artem speak, Ollie keeps headbutting Artem, seemingly acting cute while also urging Artem to play with her. You reach out to scratch Ollie's chin and she lifts her head, enjoying the intimacy. Ollie seems so eager now compared to before when she was hiding far away from us. Now she's so affectionate with you, almost like a child's temper tantrum that comes and goes. Hearing your words, Artem has a complicated expression on his face. What is it? Did I say something wrong?
いや。ただ、個々の変化は臨時の飼い主に妥協しているだけで、まだ心から受け入れてくれたわけではないと思ったんだ。
What counts as true acceptance?
犬は本当に信頼している相手の前では弱点であるお腹を見せるというだろう。
Artem's word reminded you, it is true that since you two picked Ollie up from Celestine's place, she appears to be affectionate to both of you. However, she hasn't truly been able to be at ease in front of you and Artem. What should we do?
焦らずに少しずつ歩み寄っていけばいい。じゃあ、私はココと少し遊んでくる。
Sure, I'll wait here. After you prepared food and water on the picnic mat for Ollie, you sit down and watch Artem gradually approaching. But when they get near the fountain, Artem suddenly stops and crouches down. Shortly after, he gets up and continues walking. Upon closer inspection, you realize Artem is holding Ollie. The moment the little puffball touches the picnic mat, she starts drinking water. What's with Ollie?
疲れたようで途中でうずくまってしまったんだ。
So you carried Ollie back? Artem nods his head up helplessly as he carefully wipes Ollie's paws with wet wipes. Have you noticed you're always helpless whenever Ollie acts cute?
そんなことは。
Yeah, whatever Ollie wants, you give it to her.
もしかしたらそれがココの作戦なのかもしれないな。
Artem looks up at you. The fountain behind him begins to spray, forming a faint rainbow, and the whole scene feels like a dream. The movements of his mouth form gentle words, and that penetrate the sound of the water like a breeze, reaching your ear.
もし私がココのように甘えたら、君も私の要求に応えてくれるだろうか。
What? You pause for a few seconds, finally understanding Artem's intentions as the temperature rises in your face. Feel free to try it.
わかった。
Seeing that you and Artem are busily talking between yourself, Ollie, who was previously neck deep in her food, squeezed between you two. Ollie, are you done with your food already? Hearing your question, Ollie tilts her head and lets out a low howl without looking up. She looks adorable and playful. You can't help but reach out and caress Ollie's back, hoping to tell her how much you cared for her. Maybe the touch makes her comfortable, or maybe she's happy being outdoors. All of a sudden, Ollie, who had been lying on her stomach, rolls over and reveals her soft belly. . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 。 . 」 。 . 」 。 . 」 。 . 」 。 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . Surprised, you stop moving your hands. However, Ollie pulls at your wrist disapprovingly, reminding you not to stop. So you carefully stroke Ollie's furry belly. It's soft and warm. Artem looks at the scene in front of him with a complicated look on his face.
こんな方法もあったのか。もっと早く気づいていれば。
Since the beginning, Artem had been using direct methods to deepen his relationship with Ollie. So every time there is a problem with Ollie, he is always the first to react and come up with the perfect solution. But he never considered the possibility that touch is a way to express affection to Ollie. That's because you're not used to expressing your affection to Ollie. Artem looks at you in surprise. Evidently, that possibility hadn't crossed his mind before. When you cannot express your emotions in words, touch is also another form of expression. Come on, try touching Ollie's belly.
私は、やはりやめておく。
Seeing Artem hesitate, you hold his hand firmly and force him to pet the dog. The moment Artem touches Ollie, he feels tense and stiff. You can only guide Artem and try to calm him down, starting with scratching Ollie's chin before moving down to the fur above her belly. Soon, Ollie gets accustomed to Artem's touch and rubs her head against Artem's palm, wanting more. It seems Ollie has finally accepted us again.
ああ、
I have to share this great news with Silas. Before you can finish, you notice Ollie's ears perk up to the sound of a phone vibrating on the picnic mat. Artem looks at his phone. It happened to be a message from Celestine. Let me know what Celestine said. Artem nods while unlocking his phone. However, he remains silent and you can't help but stare at him. He stares at his phone with furrowed eyebrows and finally sighs. Did something happen?
いや、
Seeing your puzzled look, Artem hands you his phone. It turns out Celestine sent a message to Artem saying she misses Ollie. She hopes that Artem will send her a family photo like the one she sent him. You tap on the image below, which shows a well-known pet blogger family wearing the same hairband as their family dog. For some reason, when you look at the image, you can immediately imagine Arthur with a hairband on his head. He will look adorable. This photo seems pretty interesting.
面白い？
Artem repeats your words in surprise, not understanding what's interesting about the photo. You put down the phone and put on a solemn expression to convince Artem. Ollie's going to go home after Celestine returns. We should take a commemorative photo together. We'll look back on this time fondly. Artem doesn't respond but seems fine with the idea. However, Ollie starts barking out in excitement when she hears Celestine's name. See, even Ollie wants to take one.
わかった。ただし、ここではなく、家に帰ってからにしよう。
Okay, let's do it. Artem's residence. After getting home, you search for the hairbands you had left at Artem's place. You carefully remove your ring and put it away to prevent it from getting tangled with hair. Then you wave the hairbands at Artem and Ollie, who hides half her body under the sofa. What's up first? You and Artem exchange a smile and then both look at Ollie. You creep quietly over to Artem and whisper in his ear. You hold Ollie and I'll tie her fur.
わかった。まずは、おとなしくしてもらうためのおとりを用意しよ
Artem takes a small piece of beef jerky from a nearby table and holds it out to Ollie in his palm.
う。ここジャーキーが入っているのは、どっちだ
Ollie pokes forward with her nose, sniffing Artem's hand back and forth. She places her paw on Artem's right hand.
正解だ。
While Ollie is distracted, Artem picks her up and allows her to eat the beef jerky in his arms.
よし、これでいいな。
Ollie is fooled too easily. She's not even hesitating now.
私たちを信頼しているからこそ、わざと罠にかかってくれたのだろう。このくらいなら許してあげようとな。
That makes sense. Ollie's very soft and fluffy, making it easy to tie with the hairband. The problem is, as soon as you let Ollie go, she tries to paw at it. Ollie, no touching.
仕方ない。私が抱えていよう。
Artem holds Ollie to prevent her from moving. But your hands won't be free to tie your own hair. He looks at you, not embarrassed by this new realization. Instead, he replies with a smile.
じゃあ君にお願いしてもいいか
Artem's tone. Was he acting cute? Oh, of course. You pat in front of the sofa. Artem carries Ollie and sits down on the carpet, leaning his head towards you. You're too tall. Go lower.
こうか
The air conditioner in the room dissipates the room's heat, but does nothing to cool down the heat on your face. Artem rests his upper half of his body in your arms, and your nose is filled with the scent of his shampoo. You gently caress a clump of his hair, which is as soft as Ollie's fur. Your hair is really soft.
そうかあまり気にしたことはないが
I remember hearing that people who have soft hair are gentle. Now that I think about it, that's true.
それなら君の髪はもっと柔らかいということになるな
Don't change the subject. We're talking about you. Probably because of your conversation with Artem about his hair, Ollie stretches out her paw to feel. However, Ollie's beautiful intention is interrupted by Artem.
ここ動くな
Ollie wants to help tie your hair.
邪魔したいの間違いじゃないか
Hearing Artem's assertion, Ollie twists her body in protest. She's protesting.
異議を却下します
Knowing that she's under constraint, Ollie has no choice but to settle down in Artem's arm. Artem's hair wraps around your fingers as you slowly gather it into a ball and fixes it with a hairband. You gently prod the hairband to make sure it won't unravel if you let go. Done. Stand up and let's take a look.
あありがとう
You take out the small mirror you usually use for makeup and show Artem his new hairstyle. What do you think?
これはアホっぽいな
Artem's honest feedback sends you into a fit of laughter. You also tie your hair and sit down on the sofa with Artem, reenacting the pose you saw in the image. Ollie loves taking pictures, so she is very cooperative. Artem, on the other hand, doesn't really look great on camera. Artem flips through the photos, looking at you with an expression of defeat.
やはり写真は苦手だ。
Not at all. You look adorable.
かわいい？
Don't worry, I'll pick out a few photos that will shatter your image of an attorney and send them to Celestine.
わかった。私は片付けなければならないことがあるから、しばらく書斎にいる。
It seems Artem forgot about his hairstyle, so you grab his wrist in a hurry.
どうした？
You hold your laughter in while pointing at the hairband on his head. You're not gonna keep that while working, are you? Artem suddenly realized what he must look like right now.
すっかり忘れていた。
Artem fumbled several times to untie his hairband, but to no avail. You smile and stand on your tiptoes to help him. Free from the restraints of the hairband, the soft strands of hair scatter in all directions. You help him tidy it back to how it was before. There.
ありがとう。
This whole experience brings a new sense of intimacy, probably because you rarely touch Artem's hair. Both of you blush, your hearts beating faster and faster, and you quickly change the subject. Are you dealing with work? Need my help?
いや、仕事ではないから、君は気にせず休んでいなさい。今日は疲れただろ。
Ollie raises her head and barks twice as if to answer Artem. Okay, fine. Ollie follows closely behind Artem while wagging her tail, making it hard for Artem to take big steps.
ここ、そこにいられると危ない。踏んでしまうだろ。
As the sound of Artem and Ollie fades away, you lie on the sofa sitting through the photos, leisurely picking out a few for the family album. Halfway through the selection, you receive a call from Kiki.
先輩、コマ撮りロビンの映画評論見ました？さっき更新されたばかりなんですけど。なんと、今回はラブロマンスなんです。しかもいつもより内容が濃いこともあって、掲示板が大盛り上がりなんですよ。
Artem posted a new review. In an instant, you recall when Artem was attacked by Ollie, and the familiar melody you heard sounded like the ending song of the movie you saw. Could it be that film? But we were together the whole time. When did he have the time to post a review?
もしもーし、先輩、聞いてますか？
Oh, nothing. It's rare that Mockingbird would write a review for a romance, so...
ですよね。もうコメント欄でいろいろな憶測が飛び交ってて大変なんですよ。
Speculating what?
ロビン様がいえ、これ以上はネタバレになるので、先輩が自分の目で確かめてみてください。
Alright, talk to you later then.
絶対すぐに見てくださいね。では、また事務所で。
Got it. As soon as you hang up with Kiki, you open up the review. Sure enough, Artem posted a new review yesterday, but the most recent edit was just 10 minutes ago. Was Artem making changes to the review when I was picking up photos? Curious, you start reading the review. As you suspected, he wrote a firm review about the romance film the two of you watched together. However, the style of this review is much different from Artem's other reviews. He even expressed some personal thoughts at the end of the review.
愛する人と意見の食い違いが生じたとき、一番いい方法は 真正面から向き合って解決することだと私は考えてきた。しかし、ある人に言われたのだ。親密だからこそ、言葉では伝えきれない思いもある。だから、複雑な感情という面にも気を配らなければならないと。例えば、言葉を話せない動物が相手だった場合、人間の言葉など役に立たない。だからといって、彼らとの交流が不可能というわけではない。撫でる、寄り添う、食事を与えるといった行動も、彼らの信頼を得る方法なのだ。愛する人との関係でも、同じことが言えるのではないだろうか。自分の思いを言葉で伝えきれないとき、ただ相手を抱きしめる。そうした身体的な触れ合いをすることで、それまで言葉にできなかった思いも、相手に届けられるかもしれない。
Artem must have written this review in response to the question we discussed earlier. There were just some thoughts I had after watching the movie, but he took them to heart. You scroll down to the comment section, which is numbered in the hundreds at this point. Most of them were just cries of admiration as well as speculation. Is Mockingbird in love? Love's in the air. They even got a pet together. Take a wild guess as to who that someone might be. Judging by this, I think Mockingbird has moved on to a new stage of his life. The internet really loves to gossip. You put down your phone and look at Artem, who is now in the kitchen preparing dinner with a warm feeling in your heart. You can't help but get up and walk towards him. Artem's residence. You walk lightly behind Artem and put your arms around his waist. Only then do you notice that it's already getting dark as you bury your face in his back. Gradually putting down the ingredients he was prepping, Artem wipes his hand before covering the back of your hand with his.
どうした？
Your most recent review?
読んだのか？あれは、ただ思いついたことを書いただけだ。
Artem gently takes your hand and turns to you.
映画の主人公たちに起きた問題について話し合ったとき、私と君の意見が割れていたことを覚えているか？
I do. You thought it would be easy to confront the problem head on. Judging by your review, that doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
ああ、君とココが私の考えを変えてくれたんだ。
Huh?
最初にココが私たちを警戒していたとき、私はいつも通り先手を打ってあの子の心を開こうとした。
You remember Artem using snacks to lure Ollie into the pet carrier. Then he moved Ollie's pet to the bedroom to strengthen the bond. Artem's every move was on the offense, making Ollie accept the way Artem wanted to interact. It seemed to work well.
確かに、飼い主とペットという関係としては効果があったかもしれないが、本当の意味で仲良くなれたわけではなかった。最終的にココが心を開いてくれたのは君のおかげだ。
Huh?
君の言う通り、親密な関係だからこそ言葉では伝えきれない気持ちがある。言葉の通じないココに対しては、もっと感情という面に気を配るべきだった。
But I think what you said before was right. From the surface, it seemed like the reason Ollie finally accepted us in the end was because I was proactive in showing my affection. But everything you did made Ollie trust us. That was what made her finally accept us. You tiptoe and put your arms around Artem's neck, looking up at his sharp yet gentle jawline. So it was a coordinated effort to make Ollie accept us. The courage to face the problems head on and gentle communication of emotions are both important in an intimate relationships.
君は
Artem leans down, putting his arms around your waist. He looks into your eyes with complicated yet blazing emotions.
今この瞬間、私の中にも言葉では伝えきれないものがある。
So, what do you plan on doing? He lifts your chin with his hand, deep in thought about what to do.
そうだな。もっと直接的な触れ合いで伝えてみようか。例えば、君を抱きしめて。
Artem's face slowly moves in before your eyes, and a warm kiss sweeps across your eyes like cicadas wings. Then, little by little, it reaches the tip of your ear and finally stops at your ear. Artem's hoarse voice, accompanied by his hot breath, digs into your skin.
そして、キスで。今の私の気持ちを当ててみなさい。喜びか、欲望か。どちらだと思う？
You subconsciously tug at Artem's clothes and nod.
どうした？君の答えを聞かせてくれ。
Artem's fingers brush across your lips, sending a tingling sensation like electricity through your body. I think it's smooth and a subtle hint of acting cute. Artem's kiss finally lands on your lips, but it's not as tender as before. This time, he releases all restraints, joining the two of you with his overflowing emotions. The boiling hot soup on the stove snaps you two back to reality. He relaxes his arm around your waist and speaks slowly.
婚約後も映画の主人公たちのように意見の食い違いや葛藤が生まれることもあるだろう。だが心配する必要はない。
Artem,
君と私は二人の独立した人間だ。どれだけ親密な関係になったとしても、互いに近づきたいという気持ちがある以上、ある程度の拒絶が生じるのは仕方がない。しかし、考え方を変えれば、それは二人の日常を彩るためのスパイスにもなる。婚約者という立場になっても、私の君に対する気持ちは最初から何も変わらない。ずっと君を愛している。
Artem's solemn promise leaves you wanting more intimacy, and you can't help but cling onto his shoulders, meeting his forehead. Yes, I believe in us. You don't know if Ollie is agreeing with you or just announcing her presence. Caught off guard by Ollie's spark, the tension building between you and Artem dissipates. After calming down, you squat down and pat Ollie's head. Did you understand what we said? Ollie tilts her head with the "you must be kidding" look.
夕食ができるまでまだ少しかかるから、君はココと遊んであげなさい。
I'll help.
いや、大丈夫だ。むしろココを連れて行ってくれた方が助かる。ココが足元でうろちょろしていると、私も動きづらいからな。
You can't help but smile at Artem's heartfelt helplessness as you grab Ollie's paw and wave goodbye to Artem. Okay, we'll see you later then.
私だ。ん？それは新しいパジャマか？よく似合っている。そのプリントは、この前ココと一緒に撮った写真か？私にもお揃いで用意した？そういうパジャマは今まで着たことがないんだが。 どうしてもと言うなら、今度うちに来た時にでも一緒に来てみよう。いや、急用ではないんだが、ココのことで少し君に相談があってな。もうすぐココの誕生日で、財前が誕生日パーティーを開くらしく、私たちも誘われたんだ。そう言うと思った。そうだな。誕生日パーティーなら、プレゼントを用意しないと。確か商店街に新しいペットショップができていたから、明日そこに行ってみないか。うん、決まりだな。プレゼントをリストアップするから、後で一緒に選ぼう。ああ、そうだ。いつものビーフジャーキーもついでに買って。ん？どうしたそんな顔をして。うん。確かにココは可愛い。実は子供の頃、私も犬を飼いたかったんだ。だが、今は考えが変わった。時間をかける必要があるからな。一人では面倒を見てやれる自信がない。ただ、君と一緒なら大丈夫だと思うんだ。二人ならきっとちゃんと世話してやれる。うん。だから、君さえ良ければ一緒に犬を飼わないか。今答えなくてもいい。じっくり考えてから教えてくれ。明日の準備をするから、これで。おやすみ。